Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my kitchen. For those of you that haven't been here before, my name's Janice and I'm a Thermomix consultant. So I have mentioned before that in a couple of weeks' time I'm heading off overseas for 6.5 weeks. I'm doing Europe and Great Britain, and the one thing I want to get a handle on is my sourdough starter. Now this is my starter, so I've just made bread today and that's what I've got left. And this is my discard. So I've used up all my discard, and I've been feeding and discarding every day this week to get some discard to try and save my starter. Now I am going to leave this, probably it won't be this one, but I'm going to leave whatever I've got in my starter jar. I'm going to leave that in the fridge, but with my discard, I'm going to freeze some and I'm going to dry some. And then when you come back, I can defrost the frozen one and then feed it. And with the dried one, I can reconstitute it. So there is a recipe on cookie dough. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do I want to do dry 300 grams and I'm going to freeze 300 grams. So I don't know that I've got 600 grams here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry 300 grams and then I'll see how much I've got left to freeze, and I can probably top it up in the next week or so when I make more bread. Rightio, so I'm going to weigh it out onto this jug, and I'm going to have a look in a tip at the recipe, because I think I want to look to see how much water you add. If I dry 300 grams, then obviously it's going to lose some liquid. So I don't know if you add water to bring it back up to the same weight or if there's a certain amount you use, but I'm going to have a look. That's that 300 grams. Now let's see how much is in here. Oops, tear. So if I get 150, I'll be happy. A bit more. Oh yeah. So I've got 150 there, and I'll freeze, I'll do that, and I'll freeze that in a little block. Now if I just go out of here, we'll have to search. So if you like this is your home page, if you swipe it that way, you'll get the search. So we'll go, if I search sourdough. See, I can also do this on the app, on my phone, on my iPad, on my computer. But this is the great thing about the TM6, is you can also do it. Oops, I can't spell. You can also do it directly on your TM6. So we don't want that one. Dehydrating and reactivating sourdough starter. So they say to use 8 ounces, which is, I don't know, what's that, about 225 grams. Then reactivating it, you yeah, so you'd use, so this here is 300 grams. So I'd add 300 grams of water and 150 grams of bread flour. And that should bring us back. Rightio. So let's spread this out. Okay. I've got a tiny bit of that. And it says to do it on baking paper. I am going to use, I've got the large rose gold baking tray with the liner in it. So you can buy these separately, and it comes with a, it also comes with a cooling wrap. I'll just take this to the edge, and then we're going to leave it to dry for a couple of days, and then flake it, and once it's completely dry, then we'll break it up into crumbles, and I'll put it in a bag, and I'll probably actually put it in a vacuum seal bag and vacuum seal it. And when you're doing this, you don't use your active starter. You do use your unfed starter, which is your discard. I don't know if it needs to be spread out thinner than that. I'll just show you that. And I'm just going to put that aside, and I'm going to leave that to dry out. This was 150 grams. So I'm going to pop that in the freezer, and then once that freezes, I'll pop that out and put it in a bag, and then in the meantime I'll fill that one up. And so I'll have 300 grams frozen, I'll have 300 grams dried, and then I'll just have this as well. And the only thing that worries about me with this one is if it molds. It won't die if you keep it in the fridge. The only thing you've got to worry about is if it gets mold on it, then you have to throw it out. So so hopefully when I come home, I can open it up, stir the hooch in, all the liquid that's on the top, and feed it and go from there. And it will take a little bit to come back to a nice mature starter, but it won't take as long as starting from scratch. And the same as these. So these are my safety measures. Rightio. Okay, what did I say? This one here, we know that we dehydrated 300 grams of starter. So with the dried starter, I will show you once it's dried. But yeah, so it's 300 grams of starter to start with, so you add 300 grams of water and 150 grams of flour to bring it back. There is also another method if you want to do the rye flour. I think you add, it's like 200 grams of active starter with 100 grams of rye flour, and then you leave that to dry. So, but I'm not going to do that one. I don't need that many backup plans. Rightio, I'll come back once this is dried and we'll have a look. So rightio, this is where I'm at with trying to preserve my sourdough starter while I am overseas. I don't know what that is. It's a little brown thing anyway. Let's just throw that in the bin. I don't know what that is. So this is it here. Now I was going to powder it, but I think I might leave it like that and I'll just powder it in the Thermomix before I reconstitute it. So I've got a little block. That's 150 grams. I've labelled that, but it's a freezer marker, but it's all bled in the freezer. This is my starter. I've just made my last loaf of bread, and I'm going to feed this. And this is the one I'm going to put in the fridge. So let's do that now. So I'm just going to feed it with 50 grams of, I think there's about 50 grams in there. Oh, that's 49 grams. 50 grams of flour. 50 grams of water. Okay. I did just put it back together, so. Oops. Let's just get rid of all of it and start again. So I don't want to put too much water in this. Okay, that's perfect, rightio. So I don't use the recipe for my sourdough anymore because it's just super easy. And I just and I know the recipe off by heart, so it's actually just as easy to do it by hand, just do it manually. So we've got we want that for a minute 20, 37 degrees, speed 2, rightio. So I'm going to bag that up. Hang on, this is the last of my discard. So I'm going to freeze this, and this can be just for anything. Oops, when I get back. There you go. Don't really want that much in there. I'll find another one of them. I've got about 6 of these little silicone loaf pans. Then I'm going to wash up this one or this one that I had the discard in, and put the starter in it. So we're starting from fresh. So I'm going to have one in the freezer. This is my first. Well, the one in the fridge is going to be my first backup, right? So this is, this is the one I'm going to look at first. I mean, when I get back, the first thing I'll do is feed this one, give it a stir and feed it. Check for mould. Mould, I think, will be my biggest enemy. Check for mould. Check for mould. Then, if there's no mould present, stir any of the liquid in and feed it, and then we'll see how that goes. If this has failed, I'll probably go to the frozen one next. Defrost it, feed it, and see how that one goes. And this is my last resort, because this will actually keep for ages. So I can just keep this in a bag or in an airtight container, and at the end of the time, if I ever lose my starter, then I've got this as backup. Rightio. If anyone else has got any tips for me on preserving my sourdough starter, have I covered all the different ways? Are there any others? I would really love to hear from people, because I'm a relative newbie when it comes to sourdough. I used to do it years and years and years ago. And my only way of saving my starter was bunging the whole thing in the freezer and walking away. I mean, people always talk about, these 40, 50-year-old starters. Well, I don't think I've got that many years left, but I would definitely like to keep my starter going until I'm no longer making sourdough. So I love the smell of this one. This one has got such that really beautiful, rich, tart smell that just is so yeasty, and it's so much change. There's so much change when I first made it, and my bread is just so much better. I mean, it was, the first few loaves I made, I think, were part of the problem, the failed ones. Part of the problem was the starter not being old enough. Anyway, I really hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, could you please give it a thumbs up, pop over to my channel and subscribe, and I really hope I'll see you next time.